Well, hello. Welcome to Orchid Bloom's podcast. Well, Happy New Year, everyone. It is now 2026, and for the first episode of 2026, I wanted to talk about this new journey that I will be embarking on. This year, I am choosing the soft life. But what I didn't realize is that softness doesn't come without resistance. I want to start this episode by saying something very clearly, because I think a lot of us feel this, but don't hear it said out loud. If softness feels uncomfortable for you, if it feels unsafe, destabilizing, or even painful, it doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. It means your body learned survival before it ever learned safety. So welcome to our first podcast episode of Orchid Bloom's podcast. I am your host, Orchid Brown, with Orchid Bloom's podcast. You can find me on TikTok, Blue Skies, and X at Orchid Eye Brown. Today's episode, the first episode of the month, is going to be on soft life. Soft life is often marketed as ease, rest, luxury, femininity, and romanticizing versions of slowing down. But for women who were parentified, who were hyper independent, who were emotionally relied on for far too long, softness doesn't feel freeing at first. It feels unfamiliar. And unfamiliar doesn't register peaceful, it registers as dangerous. A lot of people don't take into consideration their nervous system when they are changing their mindset and how they go about life. If you're, for example, still in a scarcity mindset, guess what? That's your nervous system still holding on to that. Your nervous system only knows one way. If you're trying to change yourself into a more positive outlook or embarking on any new journey, you have to take into consideration your nervous system, because your nervous system is shot from all that you have experienced. It has taken me so long to sit my nervous system down and have that conversation with it, because it's so used to not feeling safe that I had to tell it and talk to it and pour into it and let it know that, hey, we're doing this together. And it is time for us to move forward. It is time for us to go into the direction that we need to go into for our betterment. And in order for that to be successful, we need to be on the same page. It takes years for some people to be able to calm their nervous system down. And yes, there are people you can go to that will teach you some techniques that will help you in regards to your nervous system. But a lot of people are doing it all on their own, and they're having to figure it out because the mind and the system are not connecting. Just like sometimes you make decision with your mind, but your heart doesn't follow. Your nervous system needs to catch up with the decisions that the body is making, with your mind is making. And that right there is a very difficult process. It's the most difficult part of that process, because you literally have to kill that person inside of you who is holding on to scarcity, who is holding on to feeling unsafe. So just like you would treat a traumatized child, you also need to treat your nervous system the exact same way, with compassion and care. So this episode isn't about aesthetics. It's not about looking soft. This is about the uncomfortable transition, the breakdown that happens before softness can actually exist. For some of us, softness isn't hard because we're resistant to healing. It's hard because of what we were trained to believe. If you were parentified, even emotional, you learned very early that you need to come last. Your needs come last. Strength equals survival. Rest has to be earned or justified. You didn't just grow up fast. You grew up responsible. Masculine energy wasn't a personality trait you chose. It was protection. Independence didn't just become a skill, it became your identity because relying on others didn't feel safe. So when people say, just soften, they're asking a nervous system that learned to stay alert to suddenly stand down. And that doesn't happen overnight. I want to say this gently, but clearly. You didn't become hard because you wanted to. You became hard because you had to. There is nothing shameful about that. Self-compassion starts when we stop judging the adaptation that kept us alive. So looking back at my journey to my soft life, I had to start moving differently. And one of the first ways to my softness era was releasing people. Because again, you don't know, or maybe you do, that you are surrounded by people who do not serve you. A lot of people say, release things. Things are objects. What about people? People that don't serve you. You can release things. It's really easy. You can drop it off at a thrift store and they can resell it. But people is a difficult part because you've grown attached to them. You feel a kinship with them, not realizing that they don't feel that way about you. So the first thing I did was clean house. Got rid of things and I got rid of people who did not serve me. Cutting people off and out is not soft at all. And that's what I want you to understand. A lot of people have this perception that being in their softness means that they have to allow snakes and rats around them. No, actually you don't. You genuinely don't need to keep them around. In order for you to walk into your softness, you have to release these people. Because the reason why you're still in scarcity, the reason why you're still hyper independent, the reason why you're still in your masculine energy is because these people are making sure that you stay there because it benefits them. So I decided to let people go permanently, not seasonally. No, you're gone. Completely gone. There is nothing for you here. I wanted to talk plainly about this because I know how deeply this resonates with a lot of people. A lot of people. These are hard conversations that a lot of you will be having with yourself for 2026. You will begin to reflect on your life. I just posted a blog post on Obsession blog at taonetwork.ca/blog called Stepping into Alignment. And becoming soft requires you to align with it. And so when you read that blog post, you are going to reflect on your life and you're going to kind of look at the people, places, and things that are holding you back. And you have to be honest about it. You have to be honest with yourself about what is serving you and what is not. And that was the first step that I took about a year ago to walk into my softness, because it's time. It's just time for me to do the work and to detach from things, mindset, habits that no longer serve me. I am an intentional person. And because I'm an intentional person, I have to be honest with myself. What is truly working for me? I started noticing relationships where I was always the therapist, the mother, the mentor, the emotional dumping ground. There is no reciprocation, no curiosity about me, just constant access to my labor, my wisdom, my emotional capacity for a long time. I told myself that was just who I was, that being needed meant being valued. The truth is, those relationships were exhausting my nervous system. Here's the reframe that changed everything for me. Letting people go wasn't cruelty, it was clarity. Soft life requires capacity, and draining relationships steal softness before it even has a chance to form. Choosing yourself is not abandonment, it's self-preservation. And what you need to understand is that a lot of these people that are around you, They are choosing self-preservation because you being stuck in a cycle and a pattern works for them. It helps them to flourish. It helps them to grow. It helps them to continue to stay in their victimizing mode that they so love dearly. And you constantly pouring energy and attention into these people is benefiting them in so many ways because it leaves you drained and detracted. Softness cannot grow in environments where you are constantly being extracted from. And that is what they're doing. They are benefiting from your labor, your wisdom, and your energy. And so once you free that up and give yourself the capacity back, or at least take it back, guess what? You have more time, more energy to be able to plan and to also walk into your softness, walk into peace, and leave these people to their karma, to their detriment, to everything that they have done in their lifetime. Let them reap what they sow. Stop protecting them. Stop helping them. Let them reap what they sow. Most of them are too old to not know how to take care of themselves. And that self-preservation is them taking care of themselves on the back of someone else. Release the dead weight. Here's where things get complicated because boundaries saved you. I built strong boundaries to survive, to stop being used, to stop being drained, to stop being emotionally consumed. But now these boundaries sometimes feel like a wall. They make it hard to receive, trust, relax, and be seen. I need to say this part out loud because it's uncomfortable, but it's honest. I protected myself so well that I don't know how to soften without feeling exposed. Strong boundaries are not a failure. They were necessary, but it's a phase. It's just a phase, not the destination. Healing isn't linear. It's recalibration. Sometimes the boundaries we built in danger needs to be adjusted once safety begins to appear. That adjustment feels vulnerable. And that is what I mean by the nervous system. The nervous system feels that it's always in danger. And because your nervous system feels like it's always in danger, we need to adjust that. And that takes time to get out of survival mode. It takes a lot of time. Now, in order to enter our soft life, do we have to kill our protective side? The side that does have boundaries? The answer is no. And I wanted to be clear. I wanted to make it very clear because we don't have to kill our protective side. We don't have to get rid of our boundaries. It cannot be the one driving the car anymore. That's all I'm trying to say. That part of you kept you alive. It noticed patterns and cycles. It stayed alert. It anticipated harm. But once you release those people, those things, those places that no longer serve you, and make sure to put up a block, there is a sign that says no access whatsoever. There's not even a conversation. That is how cut off these people are. They're just cut off. You don't miss them. You're not even looking back. Once you do all of that, now you need to take the time to work with your nervous system and allow it to feel safety again, to feel that they don't need to be on alert, that they don't need to keep watching their back. That protective side that's always ready to fight no longer needs to fight anymore because you've created a safe environment for yourself where those people will no longer have access. I mean, whatsoever. But here's something I had to understand with compassion. And let's be honest, I wasn't showing myself very much compassion. I wasn't loving myself the way that I needed to love myself because I was taught to sacrifice. That protective part doesn't step back quietly. To that part, taking a back seat feels like death because being needed was its purpose. So when you start softening, it may fight back, not because it's sabotaging you, but because it's afraid of becoming irrelevant. That's where fight or flight shows up. Control, rigidity, over-independence, emotional withdrawal, all rooted in one belief: that if I don't stay alert, something bad will happen. Soft life isn't about being unguarded. It's about being discernment led. And a lot of people don't understand that discernment is your BFF. It's your best friend. When you learn how to trust yourself, you start to listen to that discernment. And that discernment protects you. So you don't have to be in fight or flight. You really don't. And a lot of people, don't understand that. You can discern the situation, discern the person, discern the items wherever, discern it, and then make a decision with tact on how you are going to withdraw yourself from something, people, situations, places that no longer serve you, that do not serve you. Walking into your softness, your protective side can now become a consultant and not a commander. And I think we need to distinguish who is driving and who isn't. And it's time that the roles switch. So rather than your protective side driving, it's now you driving and your protective side is right beside you. Still present, still wise, just no longer running everything. Softness doesn't mean unsafe. It means intentional. This part is a breakthrough for many of us. When you had to rely on yourself early, you learned some painful lessons. Some of these painful lessons include people were inconsistent, needs felt inconvenient, support wasn't guaranteed. So your body learned, if I relax, everything falls apart. If I lean, I will drop. And even after surviving disappointments again and again, even after bouncing back, that fear doesn't fully leave. And that's important to name, because the distrust isn't really about other people. It's about not trusting ourselves to survive disappointment again. Soft life begins when we rebuild trust, not in the world, but in ourselves. Trusting our intuition, our discernment, our ability to respond instead of just enduring. Please understand, I'm not saying that I don't trust myself because nothing will go wrong. I trust myself because I know I can handle it if it does. This part is confronting but necessary. Some people benefit from your overfunctioning. Your softness disrupts their comfort. Your evolution exposes what they haven't addressed, and that doesn't make you selfish. You are not responsible for maintaining access to the version of you that was born out of survival. You don't need to explain yourself. You don't need to over-justify anything. You don't need permission to grow. Outgrowing roles doesn't make you disloyal. It makes you honest. And a lot of people will try to weaponize your growth against you to make it seem like, oh, you're so selfish, you're not a good person. Like, how could you do this? Well, shit. You're acting like you did such a great job as a friend or a family member for me to ever consider you in the decision of choosing me, of showing myself some self-compassion, some self-love, standing in my self-worth and my self-respect, a confident person. Why would I put you first when you've brought nothing to the table? Let's be honest. Let's count all the things that you have done in this lifetime with me. And let's talk about what I have done in this lifetime with you. And let's see who is providing more. If I want to change, I'm going to change. And if you don't like it, it means you need to go. Now that we've discussed who is the table and who isn't the table, we will now transition into talking about something that I feel that we haven't talked about enough, the shadow side. Softness requires grief, anger, loneliness, identity loss. There is a mourning period. You have to mourn who you used to be. You have to reflect on all that you have been through, including trauma, all of it, and mourn that period. You're allowed to show yourself some self-compassion. Come on. Mourn the woman who carried everything, for the woman who was needed, for the woman who was valued for what she gave, not who she was. Mourning. And I want to say this gently. If you're not celebrating yet, if you're sad instead, that doesn't mean you're ungrateful. It means you're processing, you're mourning. The soft life comes after the breakdown, not before it. So what does softness look like after the transition? It's not fireworks. It's not constant peace. It's quieter than that. Soft life looks like rest without justification, pause without panic, less urgency to prove your self-worth, more trust in your timing. It's not losing discernment. It's not tolerating disrespect. It doesn't look like returning to overgiving. Soft life is not passive. It is self-trusting. It's allowing strength and rest to coexist. And honestly, I have been enjoying this rest. I have been enjoying this rest and completely spending time with myself to learn about myself again, to discuss things with myself about how I'm going to break away from things that I used to do in the past that is no longer required now. I will have that soft life. I will find my way to my highest path. And in my highest path, I am successful in every area of my life. I trust that. I trust that completely. I am not becoming soft because I'm weak. I'm becoming soft because I no longer need armor in places where I deserve safety. And if you're in the breakdown right now, you're transitioning. So I'll leave you with these questions. Where am I holding on to survival habits in spaces that no longer require them? What would softness look like if I trusted myself to handle whatever comes? Those are the questions you need to ask yourself this 2026. If you are, in fact, transitioning into your softness, your soft life, your soft era, becoming a soft woman, you need to ask yourself those questions and be completely honest. Completely honest. So thank you for being here with me today for the first episode of 2026 with Orchid Bloom's podcast. Your support is and will always be appreciated. Take this time to subscribe, follow, rate, and leave a comment on the podcast platform of your choice. Our social media pages are Orchid Bloom's YouTube channel, the Ambitious Obsession Network on Facebook, at the Ambitious Obs on Twitter, and at the Ambitious Net on Instagram. If this episode resonates with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Until next time, keep blooming this 2026, and I hope you have a splendid, splendid day.